कि khubor ka Batesi TV. Lawan Rashapi taka Frank Motors. Booking open for the new Nexon. Visit Frank Motors or call 7045207973.
Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, I beg to move a special motion to discuss on the excessive use of force and police brutality during the public hearing of the Meghalaya Cements Limited at Thangsai on the 24th of August 2023.
Motion moved. Now you may initiate a discussion.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. At the very outset, I would like to recognize the critical role of the police department in the society. They are the custodial of law and order, responsible for maintaining peace, ensuring safety and security, and upholding the principles of justice. But before I start, I would like to remind this august House as to why and what are the reasons for having a public hearing. Some of which are to open discussions about the issue at hand, to communicate and clarify the need, to show their side of controversial issues, if any, to reopen public dialogue on issues that have fallen out of public mind, and to find solution to a community problem or issue. Public hearing are held to engage a wide audience in information sharing and discussion, and can be used to increase awareness of an issue or proposal, and can be a starting point for furthering public involvement. And for this very reason, public hearing was held at Thangsai on the 24th of August 2023 by the Meghalaya Cements Limited to hear and discuss the issue regarding expansion of cement plant by Meghalaya Cements Limited. But unfortunately, though the hearing was supposed to be a public hearing, however, public was...
I would like to draw your attention to the rules 279 and sub-rule 2. A private member may not read his speech, but may rephrase his memory by reference to notes. It seems that you are reading from your note. You may speak and you may use your note for referring the fact.
Okay, for this very reason, public hearing was held at Thangsai on the 24th of August 2023 by the Meghalaya Cement Limited to hear and discuss issues regarding expansion of power plant in this particular cement factory. As someone who represents Molai constituency, the issue at hand is very much apt and similar to what we have experienced in my constituency, Molai. So I can understand and I can feel the pain of the people of Thangsai and its surrounding villages. I would like to remind this august House that recently, not long ago, that is on the 13th of August 2021, what have happened in Molai should not have happened. It is a very unfortunate what happened in Molai, where the family members of one of our very own in Molai, where his life have been cut short by the excessive use of force and police brutality, where in fact, after this incident, an inquiry commission was constituted under the chairmanship of T. Vaipai, the retired Chief Justice of Tripura, where within his report, Mr. Vaipai had clearly stated, where he said, "My finding is that the tactical team 1 is carrying out the operation to arrest the disease was culpable of thoughtless and excessive use of force." This is what happened in Maulai. But then, throughout the years, after the incident what happened in Maulai, we found that many incidents had happened in the state, and more recently in the cement plant at Thangsai. What I would like to bring before the House is the excessive use of force and police brutality time and again, which we have witnessed as people of this state. And therefore, when we look at what happened in Thangsai, based on the above happening, the people of Thangsai and nearby villages decided to stage a protest, a peaceful protest, where they want to express their desire to be part of the so-called public hearing, which was conducted at this particular day. However, while these people were trying to find their way into the venue, they were stopped by the police, who even used brute force by way of lathi charge, tear gas, and even use stun grenade. And what is more disturbing, what is happening on this particular day, is the way that women protesters are not spared from the excessive use of force and brutality by male police officer, let alone men protesters. It is a shame to witness such atrocities being committed against our very own. Let me remind us that peaceful protest is our fundamental right, which our Constitution has given us this right and was recognized as the most efficient and justified tool for showing disagreement. And our Constitution has rendered the freedom of opinion and expression to its citizens under Article 19 of our Constitution. Let me quote Article 19. Protection of certain rights regarding freedom of speech. Under subsection 1, all citizens shall have the right, under subsection A, to freedom of speech and expression, to assemble peacefully and without arms, to form associations or unions, and to move. These are the three provisions which guarantees each and every citizens of the states to exercise their right to freedom of speech and expression, to assemble peacefully without arms, and to form associations. However, on this fateful day, this very right that has been enshrined in our Constitution has been taken away by the district administration, even to the extreme where they use brute force, resulting in many injuries. Going by the media report and through the news report and through social media, what we have witnessed and what we have seen is the excessive use of force by the police on these peaceful protesters, and more so women protesters. It reminds me of It reminds me of the Criminal Procedure Code under Section 46 and Section 51 of the CRPC. When you look at these provisions, these sections, that is Section 46 and Section 51, where it talks about how arrests should be made and search of arrested person. Here we talk about an accused who was supposed to be arrested or were search of arrested person is to be made. And specifically under subsection 1, I would like to state, it says that the police officer shall not touch the person of the woman for making her arrest. And in section 51, subsection 2, specifically it states that whenever it is necessary to cause a female to be searched, the search shall be made by another female with strict regards to decency. But unfortunately, in this, on the 24th of August 2023, even women protesters are not being spared. As we can see through social media videos, that peaceful protesters and women have been lathi charged by the police department. This reminds me of whether we are still living under the colonial rule, where brute force are being used by the colonial masters against our people during that time. But unfortunately, even today, our very own government are being mistreated. They are mistreated our people by using brute force, even while exercising their fundamental rights. I would also like to draw this house to the Supreme Court judgment, Supreme Court judgment in Anita Thakur versus the government of Jammu and Kashmir. In its judgment, on the point 14, where it says, when we examine the present matter in the aforesaid conspectus, we find that initially it was the petitioners, protesters who took the law into their hands by turning their peaceful agitation into a violent one, and in the process becoming unruly and pelting stones at the police. On the other hand, even the police personnel continued the use of force beyond limits after they had controlled the mob. In the process, they continued their lathi charge. They continued to beat up all the petitioners even after overpowering them. They had virtually apprehended these petitioners, making them immobile. However, their attack on these petitioners continued even thereafter when it was not at all needed. And finally, when you look at this Supreme Court judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court held the state responsible even when these protesters had turned violent. And going by what happened in this fateful day of 24th of August 2023, I stand here to condemn the brute force used by the police department, and I feel that the victim who had suffered injuries should be compensated. And it is ironic when I look at the newspaper report, where from the district administration and the police, they stated that 9 police personnel had suffered injuries, without mentioning how many civilians had injured. But when you look at this newspaper clip, We can see that many of the civilians had been injured. I don't know how the police, coming fully prepared from head to toe, still suffered injury 9 numbers. Therefore, I rise to condemn the brutal act made by the police department and will also request the state to compensate the victim in this public hearing. Thank you.